divorce in a messy manner or in an amicable manner, but you cannot be shooting from both sides of your mouth. You cannot be supporting another political formation called the UDA, and at the same time you want to hang in there as Jubilee. I remember the last time they said if they're going to come out, they're going to make sure they're going to apply the Samson option. Samson decided after he got his strength back, after Delilah betrayed him in the temple, he decided to go down with everybody. It's like these guys want to go down with a full temple and kill everybody inside the Jubilee house. And that is why we're saying... By kill, I hope look, you mean politically. They want to take their roofing sheets, they want to take their nails, they want to take their furniture. Please, they should just get out slowly and let us breathe. We can't breathe.
Kipchumba Murkomen, Murathe, okay, he looks like he's breathing now, but he says they can't. Do you see his point of view on this? Is it over?
For me, first of all, let's start from over for who and who.
For the Jubilee Party, we hear...
the Jubilee Party, the Jubilee Party chair, vice chair is saying he can't breathe. So it must be that that place has become ungovernable, or it's become so toxic. As the vice chair of the party, he should have spoken authoritatively about the health or the situation of the party. The reason why I'm saying this is because this is a party that has never met for a party PG for 5 years. For now, 4 years. The only time they met is the only functioning organ of the party is the party disciplinary committee, where Murathe will come on TV like he did 2 weeks ago, then announce that Senator Isaac Mwaura will be disciplined, and then that happens. But the party itself, as you know, has never had a single organ of the party function except the disciplinary committee, meaning the parliamentary group meeting has never met except to remove people. The governors council or caucus has never met. The MCA caucus has never met. The National Executive Committee has never met. In fact, I used to be a member of the National Executive Committee up to the time I was removed in May last year, and it had never met until then. And I can say that authoritatively because if it had met, we would have been invited as members. But also from May to this time, I don't remember a day that the NEC has ever met. So the situation of the party is obvious for everyone. The party itself is unable to function. The party members are only on standby. The party members still have the vision, the hope, the future they wanted.
On standby for what? On standby for what?
Pardon?
On standby for what?
I'm saying definitely the party members are on standby to find out from their leadership what is the way forward insofar as the institution of Jubilee Party is concerned. But the vision and the dream of Jubilee is still being carried by so many Kenyans who voted for us and who still want to see a Kenya that we promised through the Jubilee Party, and who still want to pursue the unity of the country. So my position would be that the Jubilee leadership has failed the Jubilee members, because the Jubilee leadership, which is in charge of the organs of Jubilee and organizing meetings for Jubilee, has failed the members, but the members themselves still carry the vision. And as you can see, even in the Hustler Nation movement, the vision of Jubilee is still being carried there. And as a caucus at the moment, we believe that the things that we promised the people of Kenya as we came together as Jubilee should still be carried forward.
David Murathe, one thing.
No, let me just add something. Sorry.
I think.
Hold on, Murathe.
No, Wahiga.
You had asked me something
Wahiga,
about.
I think it's good to be honest here now, right? The last PG meeting that was called for the Senate by the party leader, Murkomen, and his boss, they organized for people to boycott the PG meeting. You put yourself in the shoes of the party leader. You call a Senate parliamentary group meeting. They choose to boycott it. They whip people to boycott it. Would you call another one?
First of all, I think David has confused himself. Let me first start by saying the question you had asked is about, is it over for President Uhuru Kenyatta and
is it over for Jubilee
William Ruto?
And the deputy?
Yeah, the two of them. President Uhuru Kenyatta is not in contest with the deputy president. And going forward, President Uhuru Kenyatta is not a presidential candidate. William Ruto has chosen clearly to remain respectful to his boss, to become as respectful as possible and obedient as possible, while focusing on providing alternative policies for post the Uhuru regime, from the Uhuru leadership, what he would like to see Kenya do, building on the foundation that they've started together with President Uhuru Kenyatta, and to carry it forward. On the question of PG, I was abundantly clear. The only time Senate PG has met is twice. Last year to remove Kipchumba Murkomen and Susan Kiika, and last week to remove Senator Kangata. And I said that those two meetings took place, and those two meetings performed the ceremony they were supposed to perform. There is no PG meeting that has ever taken place since 2017 to discuss anything that is affecting the people of Kenya, to discuss the status of the party. Murathe, for example, resigned from the party as a vice chair, and suddenly, like Jesus, in the third day he resurrected. And no organ of the party met to discuss about his resignation. No organ of the party met to receive him from the grave when he resurrected. So we have a party that has been functioning in a manner that is very extremely suspicious, and it's about the leadership, the organs, the management of the party itself. And as you know, for party to function, and I've said it before in the public, parties like ODM hold frequent meetings, and they consult. However, you can have all faults about ODM as a party, but it's a representation. It's a small representation of what a party should look like.
David Murathe, let me ask you this. History is a great teacher. Let's go back to 2013. We remember the pictures we saw. Matching shirts, matching ties, camaraderie, something that hadn't been seen in the past. Now, both of you are insiders. What actually went wrong? David Murathe, let me start with you. What went wrong?
Let me explain that the Uhuru Ruto ticket that they sold to the Kenyan people won the election, because they had an agenda and they promised Kenyans their delivery program. Somewhere along the way, people decided it was time to put their fingers in the cookie jar. And that is where you find there was a parting of ways, and that is where you find
Can you be a bit more specific? What do you mean by that? You've used a very wide phrase. Can you be a bit more specific?
My friend, they are on record themselves saying corruption, for example, cannot stop one from becoming president. On international BBC talk show, a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya confirming that the land on which his hotel sits was illegally acquired. Right now, the current status of that case is that they are negotiating to pay the KCAA, the Kenya Civil Air Authority, for stolen land. They are on record of taking Muteshi's land. The courts have ruled, and they have offered to pay Muteshi. Unfortunately, Muteshi is dead. Maybe that's why they are talking about people rising from the dead. I need to clarify one thing. All the officials of the Jubilee Party are on interim basis. They were appointed by the party leadership. Your resignation, you resign to the party leader. It is up to them to accept or not to accept. And the way they accept it is taking that letter of resignation and conforming to the registrar of political parties. When we then thought we wanted to reorganize this party and carry out party elections so that we can start preparing the party going forward, these people decided that, hey, the registrar has said the officials in the register is so and so and so and so, and they decided to take a walk. In fact, to cut to the chase, I wish Mr. Murkomen should tell Kenyans, are they in Jubilee or are they not?
Okay.
Are they supporting the programs and the vision and the agenda that they started together with the president?
Okay.
And what is this other agenda that they are now talking about, Wahiga? What is it that they want to promise Kenyans that they can do when they get elected in 2022, which they cannot do now when they are part and parcel of this Jubilee administration, of this government?
Thank you, David Murathe.
Because if they're going to take it over from where Uhuru leaves it, then they should actually be working very hard to make sure that the manifesto and the agenda they promise Kenyans succeeds, so that it becomes part of their campaign platform. I'm glad he realizes.
Thank you for that.
Uhuru will not
Let
be
me
on
allow
that
Murkomen
ballot.
to respond.
And
Let me allow.
they are throwing they are throwing their bulbs at the wrong target.
Okay.
They have competitors.
Murkomen.
The party leader is going home, but that does not mean he will cease being the leader of this party.
Okay, hang on there. Thank you.
Thank you. David, first of all, has been unable to answer your question about what is the fight about between the president and his deputy.
Where did all this go wrong?
Where did it all started? And you can see he was, running from Muteshi's land to Western Hotel to all those kind of things. First, I want to remind Murathe that in 2017 elections, both in the first round and the second round, the president spoke over 10 times that yangu 10 ya Ruto 10, nimalize yangu 5 na huyu kijana. And I remember him using the word huyu kijana aendelee from there. At that point in time, the Muteshi land issue had already been settled. At that point in time, the Western land issue had already been discussed. So the question, the things you are just collecting now are mere excuses to try to attack your deputy party leader. In fact, I dare say that if you are truly the Jubilee Party vice chair, you must demonstrate respect for both the president and his deputy, for both the party leader and the deputy party leader. I don't know where you get the courage to attack the deputy party leader and find it good for you to do so, at the same time remain respectful to the president, because by the time the president was talking about yake 10, ya DP 10 and all that, I would be safer to say that Waiga, I do not know what could be the reason why we have a friction within Jubilee. I think in my only guesswork, I would say, I mean, it's a question, it's $1 million question that all of us have been asking ourselves. And I think there was possibly intermediaries, middlemen, people who came in between them who perhaps had different agenda. And this supposed fight was made possible because or guaranteed or secured by the handshake itself. But in terms of what exactly drove them apart or to create this scenario that we have, I can never tell you exactly what's the reason. David seems to be looking for reasons, but the reasons are ridiculous because they don't add up to the reasons, because those reasons existed before. And for the record, the deputy president has said over and over again, he never, in 2013, I was part of the lawyers who worked on the agreement between URP and TNA. And there is nowhere where the deputy president told Uhuru Kenyatta, the president, that I will only sign the dotted line if you sign somewhere. And there is no agreement written anywhere that says that the president must support the deputy for another 10 years. What happened is that from his own volition, the president decided that he will run this campaign of yangu 10 ya Ruto 10, and the time he wants to withdraw from that public pronouncement is up to him as a person. Unfortunately, many Kenyans who believed in that pronouncement and took it to their heart may stick with that decision even when the president has withdrawn. David talks about, he's talking about the questions of Manifesto of Jubilee. I can tell you for sure, we were part and parcel of the people who worked on Manifesto of Jubilee that talks about the roads, that talks about the electricity, that deals with all these issues that we are dealing with at the moment. We've never departed from it. In fact, it is our regret, the greatest regret, that the Big Four agenda is now, the president in December said it was not supposed to be programs to be achieved. It was aspirational. But for us, we believed that in the 5 years, as a short-term measure, we should at least achieve universal health care. We should work towards food security. We should deal with the question of housing, which was both giving people houses, but again creating jobs for young people during the construction period for these houses, and the manufacturing, which was going to deal with the question of unemployment. Now, David is saying we should not have a program beyond 2022. That is a joke, because the Jubilee Manifesto, even when it was being launched, the President and the Deputy promised Kenyans that Jubilee has a program of over 50 to 100 years. And the fact that the President has served with the Deputy for 10 years does not mean that the Deputy going forward, aspiring for office, should not also tinker his programs in a manner that responds to the present challenges of the people of Kenya. Any person, for example, who is running for presidency in 2022 must say something about how to recover the economy, how to deal with unemployment, how to deal with the question of COVID impact on the economy, how to deal with matters debt. You can't tell us that the Jubilee Manifesto must remain static just because so that we say respect the president. The thing we must tell the people of Kenya and be honest is that once a government achieves a particular program for 10 years, there are things that we have achieved as Jubilee, there are things we've missed the target. Unfortunately, in the second term, our focus was too much into the politics of BBI. We spent a lot of time creating programs that destroyed businesses of people and all these kind of things, instead of focusing on the Big Four agenda. And that distraction is what we are promising, that the river must be returned to its course.
Okay, let me get a response from Murathe on this. And Murathe, I trust you can still hear me. Let me ask you this. In your earlier statement, you said there were some members who had their hand in the cookie jar. If we are to buy that argument, where were the organs to protect the country's finances at that time? Where was the president, for example, and his men, if what you say was happening was actually happening?
They have been manipulating the courts, for example. They have the files are ready for prosecution. Then they have politicized this, and I can tell you one of the reasons this guy is against the BBI is because it puts certain timelines in the constitution that some of these cases have to be dealt with within a certain time frame, 1 year maximum. Today, you can drag out these kind of cases forever in court, even when they are open and shut cases. Like my friend Murkomen says, some of those cases were dealt with over time, like the Muteshi one, where they were found guilty and they offered to pay. But actually that is not even the issue. The issue is if you had a manifesto and you had an agenda and you promised Kenyans certain things. Wheelbarrows, for example, were not part of the Jubilee Manifesto. I don't know where they got it from. And they are now deviating from the focus. And let me tell you, Wahiga, nothing has stopped. In fact, to the contrary, there is an acceleration of the programs of the president. This is a president who has done 7,000 kilometers of road in the 7 years. That's an average of 1,000 kilometers a year, compared to Kibaki's 700, to Nyayo's 200, to the colonial 42 kilometers a year. Look at electricity. Look at what he's talking about, universal health. My friend, even money for the aged people. Look at the free secondary education, free primary education. Look at devolution. Look at how much money is going seeping down to the ground. And one of the real issues about this BBI is the 35%. If you have a cake which is 100%, and you take 35% to the grassroots, to the people, devolving further the priorities and the resource allocation and application, you're leaving the national government only with 65%. Now, this is something they don't want to countenance. Remember, when we did the 2010 Constitution, these people were even opposed to the 15% allocation to the counties. Yet this administration has been giving, in some instances, even more than 15% as enshrined in this Constitution. But because we shudder to think how these people will behave, and they want all that cake in the center, we are trying to make safeguards and making provision that at least 1/3 or more, the 35%, goes down to the lowest level of the devolved unit. And this is precisely what these guys are against. Now, I think it is very important for these people to tell Kenyans, have they then achieved what they promised Kenyans, so that they start talking about the new, which they will bring in 2022, 18 months down the road, instead of helping the president to achieve what they promised, so that they have a scorecard at the end of the 2 5-year term, so that they can then be judged and audited. There will be an audit by the people of Kenya against the promises they made. And they are now behaving like now they are the fiercest critics of the same Jubilee administration, and they are forgetting, even when you have all that Kibaki track record, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was a minister for finance when he gave this country the economic stimulus program.
Murkomen, you can come in on that, and please answer the question of when did you begin to see the fault in the Jubilee Party? Your critics would say they saw many faults even during the first 5 years, but you refuse to acknowledge them. But suddenly you now come out as the fiercest critics of Jubilee.
First of all, David and I agree on one thing, that we have achieved a lot as Jubilee. So I don't know where you're talking about we have failed. We have achieved a lot, especially the first term. When we were running for the 2013 elections, when we were campaigning for 2013 elections, we ran on the track record of President Uhuru Kenyatta as Minister of Finance, and we discussed the question of economic stimulus plan. We ran on the track record of William Ruto as the Minister of Agriculture and his reform agenda in the agriculture sector. We ran on the record of William Ruto as the Minister of Higher Education, particularly his contribution to technical and vocational training, which actually became the integral part of Jubilee Manifesto. That track record was transported to the Jubilee administration. In the Jubilee administration,
the track record of William
Ruto as a Minister of Higher Education, I told you, we ran on the record of Uhuru Kenyatta as Minister of Finance and the way and the things he did with the economic stimulus plan. We ran on the record of William Ruto in the Minister of Agriculture and Higher Education, and particularly even the TTI issue. The fact that TTI uses less than 50 million to build one TTI structure was one of the things that William Ruto transported from his experience in the higher education. And all this track record was transported to the Jubilee administration. In the Jubilee administration, we added other programs. What Mzee Kibaki did in roads, we said we want to get 10,000 roads. We have achieved 7,000 roads. What they did in electricity connectivity, we moved electricity connectivity to over hundreds of thousands of households. I don't have the figures here. We've dealt with issues of primary education. TTIs, we built more than 150 TTIs across the country. All these things we did in the first term. What happens the second term? We get visitors in the name of BBI. We've lost traction of where we were going. We built a foundation. We should have done better when it comes to the Big Four agenda. And I'm saying, because you've asked me a question, where did the rain beat us? It beat us when we lost traction on where we were going with the Big Four agenda and retreated to now debating about amending the Constitution, which was never Jubilee administration's agenda.
Honorable Murkomen, because you gave
David the opportunity. Let me just answer this.
I'm asking you, not David. Is it fully accurate and fair to say that? Because some would say what they remember about the first 5 years of the Jubilee administration was a rise in debt like never before. When President Kibaki handed over 1.9 trillion, by the time the first 5 years were done, over 4.4 trillion shillings in debt. And some ask, they've never fully understood the return on investment on that debt. So let's talk about the first 5 years before we talk about the second term.
Thank you very much. As I said, we are not saying we ran all 5 years without fault. We made mistakes, but our mistakes were tested in the 2017 elections, and it passed the test of the people of Kenya. Our competitors in 2017 criticized the agenda of Jubilee from 2013 to 2017, and it was put into an examination. It passed that examination in 2017. We were given another 5 years with an objective of now improving on the 4 big agendas, or the big 4 agendas, that was meant to now become the culmination of the remaining 5 years. And I just wanted to tell you that it is erroneous to begin to blame other people, where Murathe is talking about, these people are against the corruption, or our plan in Jubilee was to increase the number of judges in the country. There are 41 judges that are waiting for appointments. You can't blame the judiciary for not expeditious in making decisions, yet we have disabled them. The Court of Appeal is surviving on a very thin thread because they don't have enough judges. I don't think even the Kisumu Court of Appeal is now functioning because there are very few judges that are in the Court of Appeal, and we have 41 judges that need to be appointed. The budget for the judiciary, we said that the judiciary must give in its funds. The whole issue about judiciary issue, we were supposed to sort it in this term, which we have delayed in dealing with that issue. On the question of wheelbarrow and wheelbarrownomics, as is now known, it's nothing new. It is in the Jubilee Manifesto. The Jubilee Manifesto focus.
Where is it?
It's in the Jubilee Manifesto focus was to pursue respect for work and to ensure that when you labor as a citizen of this country, it must return benefits to you. It is about now, we've said, since we have made progress to where we are, we build railways, we build roads, we connected electricity. It is now time that we go back to build the economy from the grassroots, from the top, from the bottom to up, in the sense that we need to ensure that we give impetus to small businesses in the country. In the past, we used to talk about medium-sized businesses, and that manufacturing and big businesses are going to employ young people across the country. Now we've said we want to move from that to empowering the plumbers, the mamambogas, the wheelbarrow people, the border people, and move them from grassroots up. And you know what? Because of that conversation that we've pursued consistently. You saw yesterday one of the ministers was in Machakos, others were in Kajiado, training border people.
In the interest of time.
So the thing is, there is, my brother Murathe,
because I want you to respond before we take a break.
Just like we ran in 2013 using the track record of Minister William Ruto and Deputy Prime Minister Uhuru Kenyatta, Minister of Finance, in 2022 we will run on the record of Jubilee, and we will admit to the people of Kenya where we failed and the reasons why we failed, and we'll tell them how we will be able to remedy the situation going forward.
Okay.
Nobody will say we are not going to run on Jubilee.
David Murathe, you can respond. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can see my friend Murkomen is already talking as if he's not part of this administration. You can see he's having a monologue. You can see him criticizing the decision of not appointing judges as if they are not part of this administration. Actually, I am not surprised when... No, I'm actually, Murkomen, you are a friend of mine. But when you cannot talk from both sides of your mouth. On the one hand, you want to take credit for the success of the Jubilee, and you want to run on that track record into your next election. Is it possible, for example, to tell Kenyans which one of the big 4 has stopped because of the handshake and the BBI? Please, just tell us whether your healthcare has stopped, whether the roads have stopped, whether the electrification has stopped, food security. You tell us when you last heard of famine.
Thank you.
Despite the drought and the floods. Murkomen, it's good to be honest. Are you in or are you out? Because Kenyans want to know that you cannot take credit for the success of Jubilee, and at the same time, you're the chief critic of the Jubilee administration. Please make up your mind, because it is not possible, for example, for a lot of Kenyans, and you go there radicalizing our young people and talking about poverty. It is true. How is it then possible that a lot of Kenyans have no money, and yet you and your Tangatanga have so much money to throw around every weekend to women groups, to youth groups, to borders, it means, obviously, you are the people who took their money. Your leader said the other day, the money stolen in Kimberley and Arol was only 7 billion. My foot, only 7 billion? And you feel nothing? Come on. Let's be serious.
Okay.
I want to
take a break, but Murathe,
has to be some.
okay.
Let
him finish, Murkomen. Let him finish, then I'll give you a chance.
Some modicum of decency.
Okay.
There's even this narrative that you people have been stealing. So if the other people are stealing, so you want to tag everybody else as a thief, as if it's okay to steal. And when the president says he will never leave this thing to a thief, he has never pointed out to anyone.
Correct.
Or named anybody.
Correct.
But the people who are jazzing for themselves is the Tangatangas. Why are you doing that?
Okay.
He has never said
first
so
of all,
let
Murkomen respond.
I have never said so and so is a thief.
First of all,
no,
David,
it's very important to be clear here. Why do you think he's referring to somebody specific?
So, first of all, David, I want you to relax. The president is perfectly in order to say that he's not going to leave this country to any thief, because that is what the Constitution expects. It is, he was just overstating the obvious. There is no qualification of any person who will hold public office who is a thief, and therefore the president is perfectly in order. I don't know why you are so agitated about the obvious. Number two, I am not the one who said that Kenyan money is stolen 2 billion every day. It's the president himself. Are you saying because the president acknowledged that there is a problem in government where 2 billion is lost every day, that the president should make up his mind whether he's in government or in opposition? Are you saying that when the president acknowledged publicly that there were thieves in his office in 2015, are you saying that he should have shipped out? I mean, self-critique is allowed. Honesty must be there. Are you telling me, David? Are you telling me, David? No, wait. You have to listen. Are you telling me, David?
I think it's important for us to be on the same page, Murkomen,
that am I going to have a conversation?
Okay. David Murathe,
is it going to be one person
David Murathe,
speaking?
I gave you time. Let Murkomen finish. I'll give both of you equal time.
I think you want to have a monologue.
No, but you see, I don't think you are under good influence. You need to listen. The point we are making here is that
I'm under the influence of what?
Self-critique.
Stop taking the president's things out of context.
The most important.
Number two,
hold on,
president.
David Murathe.
Are we going to have a conversation?
Murathe, hang on there. Let him finish.
You need to drink some water and cool a little bit so that you can listen. The point we are making here is that we are honest people. No one, not including yourself, can tell the people of Kenya Jubilee has succeeded 100%. We've succeeded in some, we've failed in others. And we must be honest to the people of Kenya to tell them why did we fail in some of the things we failed and how can we remedy those issues going forward. And as I made it very clear that criticism of government and non-performance, like is the appointment of 41 judges something so difficult to see that we must pretend here that, oh yeah, 41 judges are being appointed? I mean, really? So the things we are discussing here is about, we are telling the people of Kenya, as Jubilee, where have we succeeded? Where have we failed? Where do we attribute our failures to? Where did we get lost? So that we can retrace our steps.
Murkomen.
And where we are unable to retrace those steps today, what are we going to do tomorrow to make sure that the people of Kenya are back on track? I need to answer the last thing that he talked about.
Let me say one thing before you answer that. Some question the timing of your newfound criticism. Soon after the handshake, it began, but as soon as you were removed as majority leader, you took it up by 100%. The timing, where was this, Murkomen, in the first 5 years of the Jubilee Party?
I was like this from 2013. You are forgetting that I was part of the team that led people to go to court to challenge the functioning of the Senate National Assembly when the executive refused to give us division of revenue bill. I was among the team that opposed the money that goes to county government. As a majority leader, I would have been even more of a critic of executive than today, because I led the Senate to court to quash over 25 bills that have now been quashed. You know, I spoke about the takeover of Nairobi County, military takeover of Nairobi County. I spoke about the unfair removal of people from Mau Forest. I spoke about the pretentious fights that were called fights against corruption that were only targeted on certain individuals. So you can't say, Mwaura, you are not in Kenya.
And yet the security amendments
recently, in fact, recently, since my removal, I have been as harmless as a dove.
Where was your voice during the passing of the Security Amendments Bill 2014, part of which was
that is a very
struck off by the judiciary?
That is a very good question. I supported Security Amendment Bill 2014, and I will still support today if it was brought to the chambers. It was a good law. We were using that law to fight terrorism. All the provisions that we passed in 2014, I stand by them. I defend them. Sometimes I get people on social media or in public saying, oh, is this the same Murkomen who supported Security Amendment Bill in 2014? Yet, they can't tell me what section they have a quarrel with in that Security Amendment of 2014. I have no regret about it.
Gentlemen, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we need to take this discussion forward. What does the future look like for Kenyans watching from across the country, dare I say across the world? They want to know, what will the next 1.5 years look like? Can they trust that the party can steer the ship till the next general election and deliver on the promises that were made? We want to get into that when we come back. You're watching Newsnight.
But Wahiga, before you go, I think it's important for Murkomen not to take things out of context.
You're going to have to be brief then.
It is true that the president said 2 billion shillings a day. That is 760 if over the 365 days. They don't even collect that thing. It means nothing would be happening. So if there is a mishap or a mispronunciation that 2 billion shillings is spoken a day, now that is the campaign they have taken to the field, it means 735 billion is stolen a year. They don't even collect that kind of money in order to pay salaries, in order to do the development
I am not the president, I can't question him.
Activities that they are doing. But they are also talking as if, like in terms of the appointment of the judges, they are not part of this government. Are you saying the presidency, which has the president and the deputy president is saying appoint, and the president is saying don't appoint? Come on.
I don't know.
We have one government. That's why the president was asking the other day, do we have two governments?
Just my answer is very straightforward. But first of all, you need to appreciate that I am not the deputy president. Number two, the responsibility to appoint judges is for the president. And when we criticize a decision that our government has failed in appointing judges, it will be now upon us to go and sit somewhere and make that determination as to who is at fault in the failure to appoint those judges. So you can't tell me that I should bury my head in the sand in the hope that 41 judges will just appoint themselves. Number two, it is not a contest, as I've told you. There is no competition between the president and the deputy president here. When Jubilee is criticized, it includes me and you, Murathe. So we don't pretend to think that you will escape criticism or I will escape criticism because the president failed. We'll have to answer questions about why did we elect a president who failed. Number two, you have raised me issues about 2 billion shillings that are lost every day. Now you want to tell me that the president lied. I'm not the president. I don't run executive. If you know the truth,
he said you were misquoting.
If you know the truth, if you know the truth that is not the truth, why don't you just come to public and say the president has sent you to say please correct that statement? I didn't mean it.
Gentlemen, let's take that break. We're going to have to take it now. When we come back, what is the way forward? Okay. Thank you so much for your feedback. Hashtag is Newsnight, SMS line 22422. We take this conversation forward when we come back.